episode 2. We're here from Pembury. It's very wet and windy this weekend. We're here with CRMC for round 1. We'll be riding the ZXR 750 here in the Superbike 750, and we've got a Norton Manx 500 for the Lansdowne race. So guys, that's practice and qualifying done. Had a slight hiccup with the Manx Norton, the petrol tank split, so I had to pull in without setting a lap time, so we'll have to start 28th in the race. The ZXR's faultless, still getting used to the Conti tyres, so I think we qualified second for the normal races and third for the ACU race. Still plenty of time to get. Other than the petrol tank, everything's gone quite smoothly. To be honest, the weather's actually been dry as well, so that's all good. And I'll try and fill you in later as the day goes on. Race win on the ZXR, not bad, got a good start, got away in the lead. Second corner was passed by Anthony's Ducati, a lot smoother bike, so probably a bit easier to ride on the colder tyres, but I'm still learning the Contis from cold, so something to work on for us. Overall, finished second, stayed within 2 seconds of Anthony. Constant lap time, similar lap times, so all good really. A couple of bits to work on, so the bike's not turning into the right-hander after the two lefts very well, and the flat-out kink a bit slow around there, but other than that all good, happy with how it's going so far. Morning guys, day 2, Pembury, CRMC. Sorry I didn't get to do any updates in between the Lansdowne, the ZXR, and then obviously the evening presentation and stuff. Just with the weather and everything, it just got a bit hectic, so yeah. So I'll do an update this morning. So after the first ZXR race was the Lansdowne race. Now, due to the Lansdowne bike fuel tank splitting in the morning, I didn't get a lap time in, so I had to start 29th on the grid. Obviously this isn't fun, you're back down with the slower riders, and yeah, that's where all the chaos seems to happen. But yeah, got a good start, got off into the pack, managed to get up to about 7th, and then we had a red flag. For me, to be fair, this was quite lucky because I managed to get a few laps in and learn the track and learn the bike. So yeah, give me a few practice laps, which I didn't get in the morning because of the fuel tank. For the restart, had to start at 29th again. Due to the amount of time they kept us on the grid, then the camera ran out, so I can't actually show you the restart, but we come from 29th. Due to the fact we'd had some practice, I managed to set consistent fastest laps, and we got up to 2nd overall for the finish, which was really good. Had the leader in the sights, but just obviously it was a 5-lap restart, so didn't quite manage to get on par with Dan Jackson, who won it. So yeah, really good showing on the Lansdowne bike. Happy about that. Hopefully we'll get a better grid position for the second race, which will be held today because of obviously the weather conditions when they turned. It obviously messed the program up quite a bit. So the Lansdowne bike, everything seems good. We just had Stu Noble do an engine tune on it and everything, and the bike's behaving very well, so we've got no work to do on that now. Fuel tank held together, so that's good for this weekend, and we'll get it repaired properly in between. And then on to the second ZXR race. So we was hoping we'd run out of time and we wouldn't have to go out on the race. Obviously the conditions changed from it had been dry all day, and it absolutely hammered it down. But the club dropped the laps and managed to get through to the Superbike race, which was the last race of the day. Switched to the wets, but due to it being a new bike, I didn't have any wet settings to the bike, and I forgot to soften it off as well. So I think my experience of running on the wets let me take the lead. I led the whole race, steamed up halfway through the race, so I was just being consistent, wasn't really pushing on, and managed to get me on the last lap. Didn't really have a lot left. I went to try and get a run to the line on him, but Joe Woodward had come from the pit lane and caught us up, so he'd had a brilliant race behind us. And when I went to get on the power, he was on the outside of me, so it's kind of ruined my run to the line. But that's racing for you. If I'd pushed on from the start, I probably would have been able to pull away from him due to my experience on the wets, but I didn't. So yeah, finished 2nd again. So there's 2 seconds, but we went out. We haven't got to start from the back in the next race, so that's all good for us. Really happy with how it's gone. So today we woke up, sun's out again. It's supposed to be raining all day, but the sun's out, so that's all good. We've made a few changes to the dry setup on the ZXR, so we'll see how that plays out. But it's whether the track's dry enough to put the dry tyres in yet or not, and whether or not it starts raining. If it starts raining, then we'll have to play about with some wet settings and see if we can get the bike down a little bit nicer in the wet. Altogether though, happy with how the weekend's going. Can't really think of anything else to add, so I'll check in with you guys later. Hey guys, how we doing? Checking in from Pembury. Sorry, I had to make some notes because we've had quite a lot going on. Got through quite a few races. It's hard to do do a video in between races because they're kind of one after another, and it just keeps clicking on, and we've got to get the bikes ready and everything. So I've had to make a few notes, so if you see me looking down, I do apologise, but you know, I'd rather give you the right information than, you know, not. So first race of the day for us was the second race on the Mount Norton in the Lansdowne. So in the end, the race started fine. The track was damp. There was quite a lot of water about. On the inside of the right-hander after the two left-hand bends, the track was absolutely soaking wet. And on lap 3, someone managed to use that as the racing line for some reason, and they come a cropper. Bike ended up in the track, so it got red flagged. Because it was a held over race yesterday, it was only a 5-lap race. So after 3 laps, they called the race. We was running in second in the race. We got off the line, was in 3rd place. I made some passes. I followed Dan Jackson through, and I was sat on his back wheel, just letting the race build up really. Because of the damp track and everything, it's not really the best idea to go flat out straight away. Luckily, the Manx is performing well. Everything's working nice on it. Done the usual servicing work, cleaning the brakes, making sure everything's working as it should. So that's all good. The next race was the Superbike race. That was race 3 for the Superbike. The track was dry, but it was spitting with rain and was on dry tyres. So obviously the pace was down a little bit. Managed to get a good start. The bike seems to have a lot of power in the higher revs and works really well there. Got away a good start, led the whole race. The conditions deteriorated, so we had spots of rain everywhere during the race. So it was quite hard to stay consistent, but I managed to set a good pace. We was doing 103s, I think, which isn't too bad. I was doing 102s in the dry yesterday. So that was good. Yeah, and then on the last lap, I knew it was coming. I couldn't get the bike turned into the right-hander after the left-handers. I've been struggling there all weekend on the ZXR. It just doesn't seem to want to turn until it's fully laid over, and by then you've missed obviously your apex, or you're fully committed, and if you turn too tight then it's not good. So struggling with a bit of confidence turning the bike in. Caught me out a couple of places. It was really windy, so sometimes the wind will get under you and then you'd miss the line, and I couldn't hold the line. And made a pass on the last lap going into the right-hander where I'm struggling after the left-handers. I managed to take a wider line into the late apex right onto the back straight, and we was bar to bar going into the flat out kink. I don't think the back marker in between us was too happy about it, but we were touching shoulders and it was quite good fun. Managed to get round Honda nice and fast, and the bike obviously accelerates well to the line, so we got the win. So that's the first win in the Superbike 750 class for us, so really happy with that, that was good. And then we've had the 3rd race on the Manx Norton in the Lansdowne. Like I say, the bike's been working superb, so really happy with how the Manx is going. Started dry, we had a false start, so it got red flagged after the 2nd corner. We come round to the start. They asked us if we wanted to do another warm-up lap, or we was happy to go again. We were happy to go again, so we got straight into another race start. I think I cooked the clutch a bit on the first start, so the second start wasn't as good. Got away in 3rd place behind Dan Jackson and Jamie O'Brien. Then it started to drizzle, and as soon as the corner started to get a bit damp, I could see Dan trying to get a bit of a gap. So I moved into 2nd place, and then had a great battle with Dan the whole race. Come down to the last lap, I put a really clean last lap together. I was really happy with how I rode on the last lap, and I managed to get the win. So really happy with that. Yeah, so Dan's riding really well as well, I've got to say that. And Hart riding amazing as always. He's really good on these classic bikes. So 2 riders for you to watch out for. Like I say, the Manx is absolutely perfect. I'm struggling to get the ZXR to turn in. I've made a few suspension changes, but it's raining now, so we're back on the wet tyres. I think even if it dries up, I'll leave the wet tyres in for the national race, only because it's probably going to be patchy if it does dry up, and I'm not that confident on the bike, so I prefer to be on the wet tyres and go from there. So yeah, I'll try and keep you updated after the last couple of races. Hey everyone, back from Pembury now, in the workshop, just been doing a bit of bike prep. I thought I'd go through a few things from the weekend. So I think the videos so far have got up to dinner time on the Sunday. So the first race after dinner on the Sunday was the post-classic 750 Superbike ACU race. This is the big race for the Superbike 750s. It's mixed in with the Super Sport 600s. And anything post-classic really, up to the 750s I believe. So for us the conditions were wet, it was all on wet tyres, it was declared a wet race, and we was all looking forward to it. I think everyone was out there wanting to take the first race of the year for the ACUs, see how they get on. So start of the race, the ZXR is lightning off the line, so I got a brilliant start as I have been all weekend. Led into the first corner, managed to hold on to the lead for I'd say 2 or 3 of the laps, and then Alex Sinclair come past on his Ducati 748. He was going really well, I tucked in behind him, just followed him for a few laps, and then another one of the Ducati 748s come through. He took the lead from Alex, started setting a good pace. For me, these are the only 2 other riders that I actually see during the race. So I was sat there in 3rd place, waited for 4 or 5 laps behind them, let the tyres and everything and the bike get comfortable. Felt really good, worked my way through. Got back past Alex when the other 748 was pulling away at the front. Managed to catch him, then I passed him and just managed to get into a really nice rhythm on the bike, set some really good laps and pulled away. So I think I was saying earlier in my videos that I didn't change the suspension much on the bike, but I softened it off for that race. It made a really big difference once the tyres got warm enough. The bike felt really good in the wet and gave me a lot of confidence. So yeah, so I won the first post-classic 750 ACU race of the year. It felt really good. It's nice to get a win in a big race for them. Got a nice trophy and everything like that, so that was really good. And then after that we had a bit of a gap, and then it was back to the 750 again for the race 4 of the 750s. So Ant Hart actually crashed in the ACU race and didn't quite get his bike finished in time to join the 750s. So main competition in that race was Joe Woodward on his Kawasaki. Yet again we got an amazing start, led the first couple of laps, and then Joe made a pass on us going into the first left-hander at Pembury. I let Joe lead for a few laps till I got comfortable behind him, and then I passed him around the outside on the brakes into the hairpin. Just felt that was a nice place to do it because he keeps moaning I've got more power in him. So yeah, a bit of a riding lesson for him there. But yeah, no, good fun race, felt comfortable. I think I pulled a little bit of a gap, and yeah, I just did what I needed to do. So took another win, really happy with that. Bike's really good. I think the confidence I've got in the wet, because I've rode on wets, I think the only other rider out there with as much experience is probably Joe, because he does a bit of modern racing. Yeah, so everything worked well on the ZXR. And then the last race for me of the weekend was the Manx Norton in the Lansdowne. In the last race, we were second from last race of the day. The track was still wet, everything was damp. Got another really good start, led the first lap, and the lads let me get into a bit of a rhythm. So I set a really good pace. I was in a nice rhythm, I didn't make any mistakes, and I led the race start to finish. A really good race. The Manx Norton's performing really well at the moment. Yeah, so we took the Manx to Stuart Tongue over the winter. Last year when we was racing it, when I was rolling the throttle on, the bike would stutter and it wouldn't accelerate how I needed it to. It wasn't very clean getting on the power, and I was struggling with that quite a lot. And now Stuart's resolved that. He's got the bike running really, really well. He's changed the suspension a bit as well, I think the dad was saying, and the bike's just handling a dream. It's running really nice, and everything's going well with the Manx. So, you know, big shout out to Stuart Tongue. He's done an amazing job of that. Really happy. Really happy with the Manx over the weekend. Just disappointed that the tank was split for practice, so we had to start from the back in the first race. But that's racing for you. So everything else was really good. I'll get the tank prepared for the next time we use the bike, and that should be all good. Moving on with the ZXR. So it ran okay at the weekend. Rolling on the throttle, it wasn't very nice. When it dropped out of the rev range, it wasn't running very well. So the plan with that is to get the bike to PDQs with Rob Whitty, and hopefully you can get it dialed in, get it running nice and sweet. Also the suspension, it felt really hard, and the braking and on corner entry it wasn't doing what I liked. When I checked the settings on the suspension, it was really strange. It's as if it's got really weak springs in, so they've got like 15 turns of preload on. Preload for me, I'm normally in around the 7 or 8 turns. On my BMW I run 9, but then it's got limited travel, so you try and keep it softer with just using a bit of preload to keep the length of the forks there. But normally we're in the 7 or 8 turns on the Kawasaki's, so I'd like to be a bit more around there rather than 15 turns. I think that's a bit excessive. And then also on the compression, we were on 5 clicks out, which to me is quite a lot of compression. So the rear shock also was on 6 clicks. I did check and it's got 25 available, so you'd normally like to be in the mid-range, which is like 12 clicks. So my plan is to get the suspension off to Maxton, get them to service it, do a rider setup for me so they can set it for my weight and the bike weight, and hopefully this will make a massive improvement. I've always been happy with how Maxton set my suspension, and I don't normally have to change a lot. So yeah, that's the plan. So moving forwards, we're going to get the Kawasaki suspension sorted and the carb set up, and hopefully that sorts everything out. I also need to look at the rev counter as that's not working properly. And the Manx Norton is just wild the tank, and the bike's great, so it'll just be service work and off we go. So yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed watching this Pembrey meeting. It's the first one with CRMC. I think the next Classic Club meeting that I will get to is going to be a Croft, and then definitely we're going to try and get to Cadwell. Obviously Cadwell is one of my favourite tracks, so yeah, that's the plan for us. The next meeting I'll be at will be Cadwell Park with NG, on the little Yamaha TZ250, and see how we get on that. Alright guys, take it easy. Obviously if you liked it, give us a like, give us a subscribe if you want to watch again, and obviously anything that you think that I need to improve on, or any things that might help me, drop me a comment.